everybody, welcome back to Daddy's Dishes. Today I'm going to be doing chicken paprika. This is a classic recipe, but I've actually changed it quite a bit and put my own take on it. Start off with 4 boneless chicken breasts. As you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm salting them and peppering them. What you're going to want to do is coat both sides. After you get them nicely salted and peppered, this is the key ingredient to the dish. This is your paprika. Later on at the end of the video, I'll actually be showing you the brand of paprika I used. But it is a sweet paprika. You make sure that you go ahead and coat both sides evenly. So as you can see here, I'm just going to flip everything over and do the other side. I'm using sweet paprika in this recipe. You could use smoked paprika if you want to give it another twist. Feel free to change it up. As you get this other side coated nicely, you're going to want to go ahead and pat the paprika in. Just make sure you cover each chicken breast as best as possible because we're going to sear this in just a minute. Alright, what I'm using here is extra virgin olive oil. As you can see in my pan, I've nicely coated the bottom. Got it at about medium high to high heat. The heat range just depends on if you're using an electric range or if you've got a gas range. Electric can be a little more finicky. I use about medium high, almost on high for this. If you've got a gas range, you're going to use probably about medium high heat. Take the chicken, situate it in the pan nicely, and then we're just going to be searing it in. As you can see here, it's starting to cook in just a little bit. You're going to leave it for about 5 minutes on each side with the top on. Go ahead and take the top off, turn your chicken over, and then you're going to want to cook it for about another 5 minutes. Recover and let it do its thing. After about another 5 minutes, you're going to go ahead and remove the top, take your chicken, and you're just going to set it off to the side. You don't want to keep it on the heat anymore at this point. It's pretty much going to cook itself through. I'll take the chicken, put it off in some Corningware or another container, and then I'm just going to take some aluminum foil and then cover it up. Basically, the steam, the heat from the chicken will just cook it the rest of the way through. At this point, with your chicken off to the side, take about an ounce of butter. You're going to want to move your heat back up to about medium-high heat. Put the butter in the pan and then put in 1 full shallot. You want your shallot minced, and then at this point you're going to just start moving it around. Really what we're going to do from here on is we're going to deglaze this pan. So at this point I use half a cup of white wine. I am using a Sauvignon Blanc, but any Blanc will do. You want to use a dry wine though. I move the temperature up to high because I'm going to start deglazing the pan. All the salt and the paprika, it almost kind of looked like burnt stuff in the bottom of the pan. That's actually all good stuff. As you can see, when you're deglazing the pan, all that's going to be lifted off the bottom and come back into your sauce. After you've let the pan deglaze for about 3 minutes, add in your 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, give it a turn, and then let it sit for about another 3 minutes. At the same time, take a pan off to the side and start about an ounce of butter at medium heat. And then what I'm using here are cherry tomatoes. I've taken about 15 or so cherry tomatoes. I've split them and then I put in half a teaspoon of salt. I generally use sea salt and then just salt and pepper to taste at this point. You're just going to let the tomatoes cook for just a little bit. I cook them for about 3 minutes or so, give them a toss, and then we'll come back to them here in a second. At the same time, I go back to the pan that I've been deglazing, added the garlic, done all that fun stuff, and I add in a full cup of chicken broth. You go ahead and let that cook for about 3 minutes. At the same time, you've got your cherry tomatoes cruising along. And then at this point, we're going to put in our diced up asparagus tips. Cook your asparagus in. You're going to reduce your heat to about medium heat. Just give it a turn. Cook it in for, as we say in this recipe, 3 minutes, because that seems to be what everything is. Move on at this point while that's cooking, and then add in 2 tablespoons of your paprika. Give the paprika a couple turns of the spoon. I've also added in 1 teaspoon of cumin and 1.5 teaspoons of cayenne pepper. And now you're going to go ahead and take your sour cream and put it in the sauce. I'm using low-fat sour cream here. Use a half cup to a quarter cup. Just depends on how creamy you like your sauce. I used half a cup for this recipe. Give it a couple whisks, and you're going to move your heat up to about medium heat. Go ahead and add in at this time your cherry tomatoes and your asparagus. While we're doing that, you put in a tablespoon of tomato paste and then start chopping up your chicken. Your chicken's going to be nice and juicy from sitting under the tin foil, and then you're just going to go ahead and move it into the sauce. Take the chopped chicken, get it fully submerged into the sauce, and you're going to recover and let this cook for about 5 minutes. Here's the star of the show. This is the paprika I used. Like I said, I used a sweet, delicate paprika. Feel free to use the smoked paprika to give it a little bit of a twist. Hope you enjoy this recipe, and thanks for watching.